Hello, and welcome to the Connect Podcast, a podcast by the Holdrege Area Chamber of Commerce. Today, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about artificial intelligence and ways you can use it that are effective to your brand and don't take away from your actual brand voice. I've been getting a lot of emails lately from chambers across the United States and from people here in our community that you can tell are very clearly just AI. There's no editing process after that. And I think a lot of times we get lost in productivity and we forget that authenticity is super important. And so I wanted to talk today about ways you can utilize AI in a way that still doesn't take away from your authentic brand. So you guys know here at the Chamber, we use a lot of AI, not only for brainstorming and text-based stuff, but just this week, we shared a couple of pictures of a Lego Holdrege water tower in its different formats. But people know that's AI. People know that we're probably not coming out with a Lego brand Holdrege water tower. But when it comes to text formats and the way that you communicate with your customers, I think it's really important to remember that using AI is great, but you have to remain authentic. You have to understand the balance. AI is a tool. It is not a replacement in any way for your voice. And there are ways to use AI to be that tool instead of being a replacement and sounding like a robot. I talk about chambers around the United States using AI. I got an email from a chamber executive just this week, and it was in response to a question I had asked. And there was a lot of fluff. It was a professional email. It looked and sounded really, really good, but it didn't really solve the problem. And so if I were one of their customers, that would be the first thing that I notice, is that they're more worried about looking professional than they are about solving the problem. So let's tackle that first. Make sure when you're using AI, you're adding it to a layer of stuff that you already do well. If you're not doing customer service the best way, AI is not going to solve that for you, at least not in the way that you're using it currently. And so make sure that we're taking any emails that are drafted from AI and editing them to sound like us. You can do things like use a custom GPT. I've created these for customers before where you have a brand voice and you upload that to a knowledge base. It's a little high level, but if you've got ChatGPT or Claude or other text-based services, you're able to do something like this. You can upload your knowledge base, and every chat that comes out after that is of that knowledge base. Now, you'll still have to edit it. You'll still have to take things out and add your voice and do things that way, but it's a little easier for you to utilize AI in a way that still keeps true to your brand voice. AI should be enhancing your messaging, not replacing the human touch. Make sure you still sound like you. There's nothing worse than emailing with somebody and getting to know somebody via email, and then when you meet them in real life, they're nothing like they were in email. You might sound like a totally different person with a totally different personality, and that's not what you want when you're selling to customers and trying to remain authentic. There's times when you should know when to go AI and go human, right? In today's day and age, though a lot of graphic designers would disagree, it's not frowned upon to use AI in a way that doesn't bring you money. So for example, I talked about the Lego graphic we made on Facebook. That wasn't to generate any income for the chamber or replace a graphic designer, for example. It was just an entertainment piece and something that can make Holdrege residents kind of take a second eye and say, wow, that'd be cool if we had a Lego set for us. I don't think that takes away from the authenticity of a brand. Now, for example, in an email that you get from somebody that you know personally, it can sound very impersonal. If they use AI and they don't go back in and edit it to make sure, because AI doesn't know your personality and AI doesn't know your personal relationships. I want to talk about a good example. I had a friend of mine who was so smart and he just could not communicate what he was thinking up here in an effective way. His mouth didn't go as fast as his brain did. And he was a big proponent of AI in the early days because it was able to take all of his random thoughts and kind of shuffle them and put them together in a way that other people could understand. And I think that's a great way to use AI. A lot of times I do this myself. I will be brainstorming to myself and just want to, for a lack of better words, word vomit into ChatGPT and have it kind of shuffle and put things together for me. And then I can take that and edit that to be something I need. That can save you hours of time of just brainstorming. It can save a boardroom like the one I'm in currently from having to have an hour meeting just to flesh out all of the thoughts. So that's a way AI can be used really well. I think we should remember that AI should support your thinking and not replace it. It should support your voice. The goal is clarity and speed, not to sound impressive or be more professional than you are. It's meant to amplify what you currently are, not replace. Humans are best at judgment, tone, context, so make sure you have the final say on all of that. One thing I do here at the Chamber is I like to read the messaging out loud. And if it sounds awkward or like something I wouldn't say in real life, I cut it. I remove buzzwords that I wouldn't say in real life. I remove fillers, M dashes, and emojis that aren't needed. All of that can look AI heavy. Some good times to use AI is brainstorming your ideas. Maybe you're organizing your thoughts, like I said before, drafting outlines, rough emails, and turning long notes into something readable. Those are all really good uses. But there are also times to stay away from AI and stay human. If you're writing emotional messages, those are not something that you should have AI create for you. Now, I think having AI remove emotion in a business setting, it's a very valuable tool. But creating a message that's emotional is out of the picture for AI. Any apologies or sensitive topics here at the Chamber, when we have community-focused communication, that's not something that can be generalized. The AI doesn't live in Holdridge and can't speak as a Holdridge resident. And so anytime you're tying something to trust or relationships, you don't want to use AI. The real mistakes in the real world you want to avoid are trying to copy and paste AI content without editing it. That's the simple form of it. You don't want to be overly formal. You don't want to use too corporate of language, especially when you're not using corporate language on a normal basis. Make sure when you're using AI, you're telling AI who you are and who you're talking to. This is all part of prompting, and we can do this a little bit later in a different episode, but if you have questions about prompting, just make sure you reach out to the Chamber. You can Google, but make sure you tell it who you are and who you're talking to. Make sure you give it your tone, right? If you want it to be casual or local or conversational. You can ask for shorter versions, not longer ones. A lot of times that's a simple ask that can take a lot of the robotness out of these AI conversations. And make sure you're always doing a human pass when you do this before you send it out. In closing, AI is not going to replace authenticity. It's going to expose the lack of it. And so make sure you're always inserting your authentic self and your personality in all of your communications. The best use of AI still requires intention. You still have to be intentional about how you use it. Otherwise, you will get lost in using AI as a replacement and not as a helping tool. AI can help say things faster, but it's on you to mean them. Have a wonderful Friday.